Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu shehakol nibarei. L'chaim l'bracha. Good luck, everybody. Shavua Tov, good week. We begin our week continuing with the Maimer, the Chassidic discourse. So the one verse in Tanakh, in the Torah, the prophets, that refers to the Jewish people as Tzion, translated in English to Zion, speaks about three different elements of what that incorporates. That includes that God puts his word in our mouth, which is Torah. That includes that God encompasses us through our acts of chesed, of loving kindness, and that we create a foundational connection between heaven and earth through the offerings on the altar or prayer. And when those things are complete by the individual, then they are a tzion, which means a sign, meaning they reflect something greater than themselves. They reflect the divine. And therefore, even when you're in exile, the only kind of redemption you need is mishpat tzion b'mishpat tipade, tzion, Zion, referring to the Jewish people who are complete in this manner, in a time of exile, time of darkness, they being that they have completion in their divine service, they will have redemption through mishpat, through judgment. We'll see what that means shortly. I did say. However, if a person is missing, they're lacking in these three fundamentals of Torah, acts of loving kindness, and in offerings / prayer. That even though when we are lacking, we're missing, where are we missing? What cause to be missing is the soul, the way it's in the body. Yet it does affect the soul the way it's rooted above. As we've given the metaphor, soul up here, the top, the way it's rooted above in the divine. Then you have the soul down here, the way it's in the body. So the two are connected. And therefore, when we bring ourselves down, we're also bringing down the higher part, not just our lower selves we're affecting. Excuse me. Hi. Yeah, we're affecting. That's what it means. In the verse, Shuva Israel, return Israel, until Hashem, your God, because you have tripped in your sin. Now, when you trip, You trip with your legs. Leg is the bottom part of the person, which is the bottom part of, this connection of down here, the soul in the body. Yet, who has to do tshuva? Israel, which means li roish, means the head, the top, because we've affected our soul the way it is above. And therefore the verse says that even though the fit, as is in life, by the way, think about it, when you physically trip up, it's your feet that did it, but it affects your entire being. It affects your head too, heaven forfend. So therefore the tshuva, right, using this metaphor, is a tshuva that needs to include the head, that it needs to return. That's why it says shuva. Shuva means to return, repentance. Israel. Israel meaning Israel is made up. There's different meanings to the word Israel. One of them is li roish, my head. It's the highest name of the Jewish people. There's different names. Yaakov, prefer Beis Yaakov, the house of Yaakov. So now we come to understand, going back to our verse, let's understand it. Tiyam b'mishpat pade Zion. Through judgment, there will be redemption. This aspect of Zion is the essence of the soul, right? That has not faltered. So all it needs is something to help it, to reveal it. The inside of the body, right? Remember, we have the soul up here, the soul down here. It's the same me, just, giving this, when we say up here, we mean beyond our experience, but it is a part of me. It's just beyond what I experience. Then I have the soul within me, within my body, that part which I can experience, which is intelligence and emotions, right? Thought, speech, and action, that part of the soul. So in order to reveal the core essence of the soul in the body that covers over on it, so not that the body's covering over it, but it's not incarcerating it. It's not taking it hostage, right? Because the core essence of the soul, you can't take it into hostage. You can't do that. Let me explain that with that. So appreciate that. There's the function of the soul, and then there's the core of the soul. The function of the soul, the way it's in the body, that could be held hostage, right? But the core of the soul can't be. Meaning, let's take the hostages that were in Gaza. It's a good example that their core wasn't held hostage. What do you mean? They were still Jewish. They still, in their minds, could choose how to identify. They could even choose to believe. And even some of them believed in more strongly because of what they went through, to believe stronger in God. Because that part of the soul is not, can't be touched. Can't be touched. But the functionality of, go here, go there, given what to eat, what not to eat, right? That, that they controlled them. So the same thing when it comes to the core of the essence of the soul. It can't be controlled. It can't be held hostage. It, like the son of the king, if he's held hostage, the element of that he's held a hostage is, well, he's told, go and, this is where you're going to sleep, on the floor, right? This is your rations. But he's still the son of the king. That hasn't changed. The core essence of who he is doesn't change. So that's the same thing as with the soul. Now, it doesn't change. It's just covered over that, it might not recognize. So it needs redemption because it is in exile, the king, the son of the king. The essence of the soul is still affected by its environment. But it's affected, but it's not imprisoned or incarcerated, right? It didn't change anything. The son of the king is still the son of the king. The soul is still a divine soul, and the hostages could, believe more strongly in God and whatnot, right? So that's not taken hostage. So again, therefore, it's still, the son of the king is still incarcerated. So he's still covered over on his, being the royal prince in a sense. Okay. So even nonetheless, it still needs redemption, right? Because there is darkness. How's it get a redemption? B'mishpat. What is b'mishpat? Says the Rebbe. That's meaning Torah, judgment. Judgment meaning like laws, Torah. Through engaging in Torah, you reveal your inner heart, and as I hope we have that experience when we learn together, that a deeper part of me is being revealed in my study of Torah that allows me um, so it's like the prince, even now the prince is released from prison. I don't know if that's a good metaphor because he's in prison. Trying to think, okay, I don't have a good metaphor for this right now. I have to think. Okay, so that refers to the quiet sense of my soul, the sense of my soul that it just needs the study of Torah, that it should be revealed. It's hidden, but it needs to be revealed. Hidden means it just doesn't reflect itself. If it's there, I just need to bring it out to the open. Through the study of Torah, you bring out that part of you. But then we have another part of us. The way the soul is found in the body, that's a deeper exile. Meaning we're held hostage. So, for example, uh, if a person thinks, talks, or acts in a way that's not aligned with the divine, so in that moment, you're really incarcerated. What does it mean you're incarcerated? It means the vitality you're getting is from klipa. You're not getting it from a holy place. You are being controlled by the negative forces of God, of klipa, that come from God, right? That are klipa. And they're in control of you rather than you're in control. See, in the first level, you never lose control. It wasn't revealed your true, saintlyhood. The prince, and it wasn't truly revealed. So through Torah, we reveal the princely nature of our divine being. Right? That's coming from a place that was not at all damaged. But if I damaged a part, if I did something wrong, if I sinned, or I'm not complete in my, I'm not a complete reflection of the divine. There's some things that are that need that. In other words, when I'm not a complete reflection of the divine, that means I am incarcerated. I am held hostage by the negative forces that come from God, but they're klipa, they're sitracha, they're the other side. And I'm subjugated to it, just as someone who's incarcerated, who's held hostage, is subjugated to their captors. So that takes more to redeem. And that needs v'shaveha b'tzedakah, as the verse says, and the captives have to be redeemed through charity. Right? Okay, so he gives a metaphor over here now. As a father who, the royal crown prince, he's found in his father's home in the castle all the time. Okay. Now, the strength of that joy isn't, of course, it's joyful, but it's not the same as when the prince was held hostage. He's got to grind the wind, he's got to work hard with the windmill to grind grain. Right? So he's got to do work that's usually not done by the crown prince. And then he's released from prison. And he goes back to his father in the palace. Then the joy is really great. Right? Both of them, the son and father, have an immense, great joy in the reunion. So this is a metaphor for the great joy that will be in the time to come of Mashiach, a true reunion. In the 3 weeks that we're in now, we're coming up to the 9 days also. The 3 weeks between the 17th of Tammuz, last Sunday was the fast beginning, which will culminate in 2 weeks, Tisha B'Av, which will be the next fast. That this will become days that will be transformed as the son, the crown prince was in prison. It was transformed that he let out of prison and came back to the royal palace to be with the king, his father. So there, likewise, these days that we're in right now will be transformed, the sasan and simcha, ma'idim tevin, to joy and into a holiday. This will be a great joy, more than would be the normal kind of joy. Why? Because we're released from our imprisonment, from being hostage. What a joy that is. More than a regular day. May learning about this just bring out the hostages. Wow. And I was learning about the hostage in me, that I release it. Will that be to bring out the hostages literally in Gaza? And each and every one of us free ourselves of being in hostage. We're going to continue with this to understand what this all means further in forthcoming classes. Looking forward.